You say you know who you are, and yet I ask you, who are you? Are you this personality with its weaknesses and limitations? Are you the mind with its thoughts and uncontrollable thinking? Are you the body? Are you consciousness? There's many layers to you, and viewing yourself from the right point of view, or you could say right layer point, meaning all the way back where the first layer begins, on the self. Do you know who you are? Do you know that you don't have to overthink? Do you know that you don't have to make yourself miserable by leading a life of constant mind clutter, mind pollution, and living a life of creating polluted relationships full with misconceptions of people, yourself, and everything around you? The key here, you see, is to see the real in everything. See the real, not the fake. The fake often comes from the mind. Always comes from the mind. We take a look at everything around us, and the real world we see is oneness, no labels. You see how everything plays its part. You see that it's not a object, a tree, a dog. You see all these things, right? And you don't see them as separate entities or objects, and you don't classify them separated from you. You see them as contributing to life. Everything plays its purpose. What we breathe in, the trees let out, and what we let out, the trees take in. We are interconnected with everything, and I want you to know that. How? Prove it for yourself right now. Ask yourself, who am I? Don't look for an answer in the mind. The mind will tell you a million things. That's why you can't find yourself, because it changes its perspective every 10 seconds, and it changes its identity, and it changes its motives. That's why most people lead a double-minded life. They have no sense of direction. They have to go left and go right, and end up going neither left or right. And we have to understand that this is a route a lot of people take. They let other people make decisions for them, and they let, their mind lead them to a place where they know they don't belong. They end up making the wrong decisions and putting themselves in a predicament when they're not following their heart, because of insecurity, because of fear, and because, they feel isolated. They feel like they have to fall in line with everybody else. And it's tough, man, when you awaken to who you really are, and you have people telling you about all these worldly things that you barely care about. You don't see the rush into doing all these things. You feel like you're connected in some way, and you see all these people deriving their excitement out of getting things, being someone, not knowing that the only thing they're doing is pushing themselves away from source more and more and more. What is it going to take for us to realize that no matter what we get in the outside world, it's never going to be enough to, replace being, We replace the feeling of being or being aware or being conscious or being here and now, present, with our being, with mind chatter, with instant gratification and pleasure. Not knowing that we can't replace that, because that's what we are, is the source of everything. The mind cannot exist without consciousness, but consciousness could exist without the mind. We have the power to influence our mind, even though it's 5% of the conscious mind against 95% of the unconscious mind. We still can monitor our thinking and behavior, but we have to be one-minded to do so. We have to be one-minded in wanting to change. We can't just, go about it in a sloppy or unorganized way, because we have to learn our mind how our mind has learned us. We have to learn its triggers. We have to learn, what situations trigger me and make me feel a certain way. So you can feel detached from these things and be aware of them. If I was to punch you in the stomach out of nowhere, it'll hurt a lot. But if I let you know that I'm going to punch you, you could hold tight and it's not going to hurt as much, just as you're prepared for the mind attacks because you're aware, And clearing your mind, taking 10 minutes to clear your mind and see how, you've been walking around with a water that's, let's compare your mind to water and the thoughts as mud. You just shake that water and mud and everything becomes, you have to let it sit. You have to let the mind calm down. You have to just stop what you're doing and connect with yourself. There's going to be a point in time where you see everything that you see and value, and you're going to start looking within yourself because you don't see that value outside. You only see that value inside. You see the connectedness. You see who you are. You don't derive your happiness or emotions from the outside world, because you see that you are the machine. You are the... I didn't mean to use machine. You guys are not robots. But you are like the operant power. You are, source. You are life itself. You give life to everything. Without you, there wouldn't be no experience. Take your power back and realize who you are. If you want to change and grow, take it a day at a time. You don't have to, overdo it and 3 hours doing this, 5 hours. Just small steps every day. Just take small steps every day, Self-inquiry, meditations are very helpful as well. And we could use those to calm the mind. We have to starve the mind, because then it becomes calmer, When we starve the mind, it becomes more silent. When we starve it, it becomes more silent. We have to take our attention away from it and take our attention into the present moment. The mind hates the present moment. Doesn't want to be there. Why? Because it doesn't exist in the present moment. The mind wants to, take over the show. Don't let it take over the show. Take your power back and know who you are. You are not the mind with its limitations. You have no limitations. These are just softwares that you put on your system by accident, meaning your brain. You easily could, delete the files and put some new info and start believing it. You are more than you could believe. You are.